What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my 25 Days of Christmas Marathon. Today, we're going to be talking about a pretty mixed bag when it comes to Christmas films, A Muppet's Christmas Carol. That probably already took you by surprise, because yes, I know. The majority of people that I talk to as well absolutely adore this film, especially one of my good friends. He even calls it one of the greatest Christmas films of all time. But to me, it's just fine. Now, I think there's more good things than bad things, but that's just it. There's just good things mixed with some bad things as well. Nothing about the film was really great, if that really makes sense. I see this as a pretty good rendition of the original source material, but is it the best? Nah, I don't think so. For example, I think Scrooge with Bill Murray was better, but let's dive into the why. With the story, I mean, do I really need to get into it at this point? Everyone that celebrates Christmas knows this tale by now, but instead of it being animated or having Mickey Mouse at the helm, it's told by the Muppets. I do think there's some pretty clever bits to make it its own, like having the great Gonzo and the Rat narrate the film, along with having their own spin on some of the Ghosts of Christmas, but all in all, it's really just the same as every rendition. There isn't any real good twist to the original concept or themes that get broken down and expanded on. It's just the same story with the Muppets telling the story in the way they always do. You can honestly argue that this is a cash grab. As far as the meat and potatoes of the story goes, it honestly just moves too fast. I don't necessarily hate that, because I wasn't particularly entertained the whole time anyways, but things just happen so quickly where they don't give enough time to absorb the feelings they were going for in certain scenes. It's not that the film had filler, because honestly, it had the opposite of that. It just didn't really capitalize on the themes and tasks at hand. The next piece I wanted to talk about was the screenplay. Overall, I thought they had lots of fun with it, while also capturing a good amount of heart within some of the bits of dialogue. Although certain themes didn't really get enough time to settle, you can feel some of the passion in specific lines of dialogue, and also, on the contrary, there are some pretty decent pieces of comedy interwoven in, along with some of the darker elements as well. For the most part, I thought they did a fine job balancing out the differing tones they try to tackle, but there's certainly some portions where the tones would just clash, or the comedic timing would be so off and ruin the certain mood they were going for. While we're on the topic of ruining moods, although this film had some okay gags like any Muppets film really should, there was definitely some bits that fell flat right on its face and really stuck out as such. Some lines just felt really out of place and basically unnecessary at times. But when it comes to the songs, that's a different kettle of fish, because they mainly nailed that aspect. Maybe outside of one or two songs at most, they're all really memorable and creative, having some pretty catchy lines. I also really appreciated the music numbers, because in some instances, they used it to give exposition outside of having a person talk to a hand puppet even more than they really had to. As for the driving force of the film, this may be a hot take, but for me, the Muppets are very give or take. It's either you like them or you don't. I sort of lay in the middle of like and don't like, but mostly lay on the side of the like, because they are mainly charming for what they are, but I would be lying if I said some of them don't get a bit annoying. But outside of that, per usual, all the Muppets are great, especially when it comes to the musical numbers. And this time around, they really got an equal amount of screen time, with it not just being a big Kermit or Miss Piggy show. I personally think that worked out for the best, because I find the Muppets to be at their peak when everyone has a chance to shine. As for Michael Caine, there are some bits where he gets caught overacting or even underacting at times, but in reality, do you think he could do much better acting alongside green hands and puppets? I thought Caine gave it his best for what he was given, because the direction he got certainly could have been tightened up a bit, but calling a spade, he really hemmed his way at this role and did a top job. Some of his emotional bits came off a bit hammy at times, along with his art being completely predictable. I mean, as we already know the story. Do I think he's the best Scrooge? Not really, but he's fine as he is, but I thought he played the role pretty well. Overall, as I mentioned, this is just a fine film. I definitely see it more of a good film than a bad film, but it doesn't strike me as a great film like everyone else sees it, on top of it needing to watch it every year. It's not really a bit of me when it comes to that. A Muppet's Christmas Carol gets a 6 out of 10 from me. Let me know what you think about the Muppet's Christmas Carol in the comments below, and let me know what film I'd like to see me review next. See you guys in the next one.